And welcome once again, dear friends, to another edition of Fresh Bread. Well, it is the weekend. Hallelujah. We love the weekends. It is Saturday, May 15th, 2021. Hope you're having a wonderful weekend. Praying that the weather's going to be nice. I record these again about 3-4 weeks ahead of time. So we don't know what the weather's going to be when I'm recording this for the middle of May. We do hope it's going to be a nice day. I know there's a lot of graduations going on this weekend, so if you're one of those that has a child or a grandchild or a nephew or a niece or a young person that you know that's graduating, congratulations. Hope you're able to get out and enjoy it. And again, this is a wonderful time of the year as the new growth, the new birth of all of creation is all around us. And it just reminds me so much of some of the things I believe and I'm praying for that God will have in store for both Oakland United Methodist Church and Kansas Avenue United Methodist Church. We want to wrap up these programs this week as we were talking all week long just about some of the things that God's got, I believe, in store for the churches. And we started out, I believe, on Monday saying that sometimes it's almost overwhelming, some of the needs at the churches. We can almost become so aware of the needs and our lack of either numbers of people to really start moving forward, or some of the lack of training, or maybe the lack of finances, or the lack of experience. We just have to quit looking at the lack, and we have to start trusting God for what He's going to do. And it may, again, be just getting a new mindset that we cannot keep thinking about things the way that they were. And the biggest challenge for me as a pastor, as a leader of the church, is to move people from the way things have been to the way things need to go, and the way things I believe God wants them to go. And so I really need to have you pray for me as I lead the church, maybe in some new areas that maybe they're going to be a little bit uncomfortable going into. Remember, though, with the coronavirus, there's a lot of things that happened out of that were very difficult, and we certainly don't minimize any of those difficulties, especially as a result in those that we know or have heard about who have had very serious illnesses, or even who have died as a result of the coronavirus. We certainly continue to think of those folks and to pray for them and their families. And yet, out of the coronavirus, it taught us the need to try things in a new way, didn't it? We've had to really make some major adjustments, and it just shows how we can make things and change things in terms of how we respond to situations and how we are able to adapt to the needs that are in front of us. We don't get to always do things the way we would like them to be. And so as we move forward now, as we begin to prepare for this 40-day of prayer ministry that we want to launch in May the 22nd, I believe is going to be the launch date, I want to encourage you, each and every one of you who is listening to this, not to try to do things the way they've been done, but to start opening up for new ways, and not to be defensive or resistant to change, but to kind of let things go and to see where we can move in this new area. One of the challenges is going to be maybe finding funding sources for what we need to do. It may mean that we either do more giving, or that we shuffle some positions around in the church that maybe we can have done on a volunteer basis that right now we're paying for, or a combination of the two. I've got other ideas, but right now those would be the obvious ones. And I believe we have to look at where things are at and how we can move forward into these new areas. But the church membership is going to be the ones that ultimately decide. I'm going to have some suggestions. I've already got them written down. I wrote them down months ago. I haven't shared them with you yet because I didn't feel like it was the right time. Eventually, hopefully in the next few weeks, I'll be able to share all of those with you, and maybe send them out in written form, and then go over them with you in more of a town hall setting, or else at least do it on a live video, maybe in our Facebook page. But the goal is not to stay where we're at, but to begin to move forward. I believe God has now shown us the promised land, and He wants us to move into it. He doesn't want us just to stay stuck where we've been all this time. So that's my prayer, is that God would allow us now to start moving forward into these new areas that He's got for us. But it's going to take each of us to have more faith and to have more trust in the Lord than what we've ever had before, that we are now able to just let it go and let him show us where he would have us to do, and to give us a new vision for where he would have our churches to go. So that's really the message here as we wrap things up this week. We're not sure where God's going to have it go. The only thing is, I would hope that we don't limit God by our own human limitations, and that we would say, Lord, show us your areas that you would have us to go and help us not to be tied down by things in the past or things that we used to do or the way things have been done. But Lord, show us a new vision for where you would have us to go. And I pray that would be what God would do for each one of us, that we would now move into this new area, that he would have each of us to go as individuals and as a corporate body of both churches. You know, there's so many things I could just talk about right now. I'm not going to do it because, again, we'll pray about all these things first. During this next 40 days, as we start our 40 days of prayer, it's great to have ideas and then just lay them before the Lord. I've shared a few ideas with you this week, but you know what? I lay it all before the Lord. He may say, no, that's not the right time for one of these right now. Or he may say, yes, that's exactly the right one. Let's move forward with it. And he may say the same thing to you about some of your ideas. He may say it's not the right time, or he may say, you know what, let's move forward with this idea that you have. So we just want to, again, open up to the Lord and give him the full access to what our plans and our dreams and our aspirations would be as we start looking down the road as to what God would have us do at both of our churches. We will be, again, having periodic meetings, I believe. I'm praying that God would bring people together in small prayer groups that would meet in people's homes, or maybe they would meet in coffee shops or maybe in restaurants, and people could just come together and share things about the churches and what they would see things and where their prayers are going. And then just, again, open it up. Lord, what would you have us to do? This is what I'm thinking, Lord. What would you say to this, Lord? And then listen to what the Lord would have us to do. And then we'll come back and we'll be meeting periodically. And again, as in early July, my prayer is that we would all have a sense of this is where I believe God is leading our churches. And to each church, we would be able to develop some priorities that are very doable, very reachable, and that God would have us be able to enact as the summer draws to a close and as we get ready for the start of a new school year, that these things would now be in place that God would give us to do. So please keep both churches in prayer. This is the most important thing we can do. And that's one reason, again, I have not sent out a lot of information that I have written down on my email. It's all I got to do is hit the send button and y'all would get it. But I'm not going to send anything out till we've prayed about it. And some of these things I may say, look, these are things that I had way back before we did our prayer, and now I feel stronger than ever about it. Or it may be, I could say, you know what, some of these now don't seem as important after spending 40 days of prayer. And we just want to honor the Lord and make sure that we realize these are not our churches, but this is his church. And where can we go with what he has for us to do? The last thing I want to share with you this week is an idea that's come to me here just recently, and it has to do with developing a deeper spiritual growth for those who would like to grow deeper spiritually. And I believe this is something that both churches can offer, and that maybe that's something that I can help you to do in a small group setting. So if folks want to really deepen their faith, that we could have these groups that would get together on a weekly basis, kind of in the tradition of John Wesley, where he had these groups years ago, some 300 years ago or thereabouts, where these were designed to bring people into a deeper commitment to the Lord, a deeper relationship with Christ, and that we would all kind of hold each other accountable so that we would help each other grow as God would give us that ability. So these are exciting times. I do pray that you would be part of the process here as we again look forward to sharing these ideas and going into this time of extended prayer for both churches. We need your help. We need your participation. So we hope that you will be glad to do that as we move forward. Now, folks, I hope you have a great rest of the day on Saturday. Hope to see you at church on Sunday. Until then, may God richly bless you is my prayer.